So when Mark hit me up, he had a big concept for the whole number, and it was broken up into a few segments. Three sort of main segments. The first segment's going to be about 30 seconds, and that was going to be kind of an ethereal, atmospheric introduction into Quick Step. And then that would go into the Sweet Temptation Mormon Wives theme. But District 78 and Mark had reskinned that to be kind of a dubstep metal vibe. And that's going to peak and climax and then break way down to Stefan Macchio playing piano and just this really intimate, emotional moment. And then going into a big sort of accelerando kick line Rockettes ending, all in 2 minutes. So we had a lot of ground to cover. District 78 had already done all the work on the middle dubstep section, and Mark had laid down his guitars. So we had, let's see here, their synths, bass, their drum programming. I'm going to turn on the scratch vocals too that we had at that point. So that's down here. Our choir came later. So those will be that. And let's see, scratch vocals. Great. And we can turn those guys on. Fantastic. They did some sound effects programming. Spencer and Bob, those guys are freaking geniuses. All right. And so I think this is about what they sent. We had to cut it down for time. They did a much larger section that was killing. But here's what they. There's a few other elements in there. It was great, and it was heartbreaking to have to try and cut it down a little bit further than that. But such is the way. Mark put guitars on it. You heard those. I'll solo those up. Those are great. Like full crunchy metal guitar. So good. I had to put a little something on the break here with the vocals, just to give it a little more. Where's our vocal scratch vocal? Yeah, little crunchy. And again, we had a lot of ground to cover in there, so. I went in because we can't sample anything from any of the original recordings. So the other things that were part of that, there were some synthesizers and some things also that needed to be kind of redone. So I think that's this stuff. Yeah. Strings and things. God, District is ridiculous. And then again, we just kind of built that all up. I added a few more dubsteppy things just for ear candy, and so then you got the final version that you had in the show. These saints and from these sinners, hallelujah. The other wonderful thing, again, Dancing with the Stars band, Rate You Live, our singers do a tremendous job on all these things. And it doesn't matter what it is. We need a full choir. They'll do it. And so these are the choir tracks. Let me turn off the scratch vocal for that. And there's a lot of effects and things on here. But largely, I'll turn those off. It's all the guys. And Travis was in there too.
Come these saints and come these sinners, hallelujah. Lead us not into temptation, lead us not into temptation, lead us not into temptation, hallelujah.
Killing, absolutely killing. We put all the special sauce on that, and it sounds like this.
Come these saints and come these sinners, hallelujah. Lead us not into temptation, lead us not into...
It's great. Absolutely just the perfect thing. And so that's our middle segment. Like I said, most of that was already cooked up, and we just put a little polish on that. Stefan Macchio played the piano for our middle section here. And that is as you hear it in the final. There is a little bit of sound design. Mark said that he wouldn't mind having a little rain and such with that. So we did that. Thunderclap. Rain comes in right with the piano. It's gorgeous. And so this sort of weepy piano section, which is after this huge dubstep metal climax, it was Mark's idea to have like kind of real emotional, slippy, slidey violin and cello come in. And so they do. Here's our violin and cello. So they have that little moment, which is, it's conversational, you know, the piano's said its thing, and then the violin comes in, and it's just like, oh, and then the cello's, oh, you know, so it's really cool. And you got the rain, you know, so it's like, that's a great moment. And that sort of bridges the gap to this big Rockettes ending, which is where I started. I started with the backside of the number first. So it has, you know, Mark, okay, well, you know what, Rockettes, you know, because I've heard, you know, it wasn't making sense to me. And then he sang it, and he's like, then there was time, kick, dum, kick, you know, so I got out the metronome, tap, 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 tap. Okay, so that's about what we're starting. And so the first thing I did was just, as I do a lot of times, to rough out what that's gonna be. So my piano track is still in there at the end, but it's just enough to get my bearings through this process. So kick. Kick. And then we're in time. 2, 3, 4. So that was the skeleton of that little part there. At that point, I pulled in because we hadn't completely roughed everything out yet, and it was too soon for vocals. So I pulled in Frank, and he sang the the last part of this.
I'm sure you knew.
Yeah, there you go, Frankie. So then I just worked from there. We had kind of the map, and okay, well, it's big Broadway kind of kick line Rockettes. So put the drums on, drums and bass, just again as a quick and easy skeleton. So let's go here. Boom. In fact, I had actually done boom, got boom, got through that here, got boom, boom, got. And before I even sent it to Mark, Mark said, "Yeah, I just want it to be boom, bang, boom, bang." It's like, okay, great, and that's what it is. So that's the vibe on that. And then we built it out. I think string pads were the next thing that went on top of that. So let's see here. That's in here. A lot of tracks on this guy. Let's see, string, probably these guys. Yeah, there's your Chariots of Fire, like kind of a big build. I think kind of very opera. They come in. Nice big high strings. Part of the concept, as Mark was telling me about the dance again, is that it's dark. There's some real dark moments to it, and that there should be some dissonance. And so as I was going through and making choices, because when we arrange things, we're changing chords and picking the colors that'll go, with the melody. I chose to go to which is it's an old school, it's a flat 9 chord, but it's a kind of a very vintage or like nostalgic sound, but it's also kind of dark, especially, in a pop context. And then, again, a couple things, like knowing that we had that dubstep and that metal element going on. I wanted to make sure that we didn't lose that at the end. So there's some kind of crunchy guitar. Helps with the emotion. And again, I'm going, God, there's, it just needs something. And again, with all the imagery that Mark gave me, I was like, what would be kind of cool is like almost like a Bernard Herrmann, Hitchcock-esque like string thing that goes, and like kind of atonal, dissonant. And I was like, maybe. And I sat there and I tried a few things, and I was like, the vibe would be like just this ascending through line kind of thing that goes through. And so this is great. It came out. Yeah, like so cool. And again, it helps build, but it also is like, oh, it just got this real dark kind of feeling. So that with our drums, obviously your usual assortment of symphonic percussion and things. We got bass, we got the rain and the thunder going. And then again, I was doing the kick line thing. Oh, and Mark says, well, it should be, cat, boom, doom, cat. I'm like, well, I mean, one of the most memorable kind of kick line moments is New York, New York. And the vocal works great. But there were times, Bob, I'm sure you knew, Bob. And so that was the next thing. So that's killing. We had the band on Dancing with the Stars, Ray's band, play on all of the brass stuff here. So we have here a bunch of recordings of the guys, and so here's their live tracks on this. And I'll play them on the beginning too, but this. Like there's that thing, so now it's huge. And of course, again, with all the imagery, it's like, it's really dark, but it's big. So, of course, kind of like they would do in the old days, but now you hear them on movie trailers and stuff too. Throw the choir in. So. And so again, as we were discussing the routining of this, I take lots of notes. It's just the way my brain works. And Mark said, yeah, the final chord, if there could be like tension, there should be like, it's resolving, but there should be a lot of tension still in there. And so that's what we do this. We do, the sort of the regular, and you think for a second that it's like, oh, it's just a big final tonic, the resolve, but not really. There's crunch in there. It's like, let's see here. Yeah. So that is awesome. I think the choir is in on it too. I got all the percussion and all the things. So that was the first thing that I built. And we were playing phone tag rehearsals and other things. And then we were like, well, what does the beginning look like? And he said, sort of atmospheric. And then he sang it. And I don't have the recording, unfortunately, but Mark sang, the end is near. Ba-da-da-da. Like, wait, what? I was like, well, I don't know if it's horns or if it's synths or if it's the dubstep thing. I said, I know, I got it. And then, da-da-da-da-da-da. And then it's an up-tempo Charleston quick step, like kind of 20s 30s vibe, but also kind of with some cool kind of conversational call and response, and maybe like a line, maybe like something that isn't just, I don't know, just the regular time. And he gave me a couple ideas, couple references, and that's fun. That's kind of that's the we've done the sort of trailery, goofball stuff at the end. Now it's kind of like a jazz moment. So we had our lead vocal. I'll do the scratch vocal for the moment, and came up with kind of a something to go here for the.
Did what I had to do and saw it through without exemption.
So that's kind of cool. And it's got a lot of motion. It's got a lot of movement to it. And again, that's kind of, okay, well, you throw the horns in with that. Cool.
I did what I had to do.
It's saxophone and trombone kind of doubling that. It's like a cool vibe. And then the horns do the responses in the holes as well. So
I did what I had to do and saw it through without exemption and more, much more.
and then then it lands into like a 1940s big band doom 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 thing right there. And that's great. That gives, you have this kind of like and then it really starts kind of moving. So let's see. Let's look at that kind of all together. We got some orchestral percussion, mallets and stuff with that. Some strings. What else is in the mix here?
Did what I had to do.
Oh yeah, the rest of the drum kit comes in pretty heavy. Yeah, so it's kind of very Broadway, and it covers a few different genres and styles, kind of all in a very short amount of time. Upright bass, and then again, the band is freaking killing it. There's Jesse J down there on the Barry sax, Javier and Ludo on the trumpets, and Garrett doing all the trombone work. 4 guys doing the work of a full big band. God bless. So we built that. That goes, there's tissue that sort of connects that into the Sweet Temptation moment. There's some cymbal swells and so that's that. And then the intro was kind of an interesting thing. So I was going, well, we don't have a lot of time. And, the vocal is way down here. And so I went the complete opposite side of the spectrum. Just a single high violin note at the top. And there's like stuff in that violin recording too. You hear little interesting like other notes that are all kind of part of that note, little harmonic-y kind of vibes or whatever. And I found a texture that kind of goes with that, which is sort of a like cello harmonics and like a synth thing. So that really had that atmospheric vibe to it. And it just hangs in the air. And the I mean, completely by accident, those cello harmonics, like that's the melody. Da, 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 da. But it's perfect. So I love happy accidents. So that was kind of the process. And then Mark said, because we had the thunder and the piano and the end of Sweet Temptation all happen real quick. And he said, can we just maybe add 2 8 counts of silence, but not silence per se. I kind of think of it like in the womb. It's rumbly, but it's not like guttural rumbly. It's like that, and then maybe there's some ringy or like ear ringy sort of stuff up there. And so we created this silence per se of a few things. I'm a huge fan of pink noise because you can do all sorts of things with it. And this is one of those things. So I took pink, carved it up a little bit so that it's not so rumbly on the bottom, but it's not also not so harsh on the top. Found some sort of high ringy sound. And then a little bit of, I just used a synthesizer to kind of take 2 random pitches that might be like your ears ringing and put that on the other side. Yeah, that's a delightful sound. And altogether, it's that moment in the dance that it's just heartbreaking. And that's what that is. And again, sometimes you don't know what these things are going to look like or sound like altogether. And then you go, whoa. And that was one of the big moments for me, seeing the dance. Like that's intense. The band put their touches on. The singers did all the marvelous, amazing choir stuff in the middle. I still don't know how they do it, but every episode they're just fantastic. And then it was Travis. We sent this to Travis, and I think he said he took maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours tops, maybe less than that. And
now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. I did what I had to do.
So, great performance. Just absolute, astoundingly amazing performance.
Yes, there were times.
He wanted a little, like Frank's vocal back in the day, when he was singing out. It was on an old tube mic, and it was, through that old gear. It sounded like $1,000,000, but there's also a little edge or a little hair, a little saturation, a little distortion, when he leaned in. And that's, Travis said, could you put a little bit on there? So we did that.
Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew.
And both Mark and Travis said, lots of reverb, lots of delay, make it emotional, make it big, make it larger than life. And I mean, there's a lot going on in the track at that point.
Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew.
Oh, sorry, I got Frank in there by accident.
Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew.
It's great. And so I just a little bit more, could be a little bigger, could be a little bit more, a little bigger. And I think we got there. I think it is just, it's massive. We got the choir. Again, it's like a cast of thousands. All the strings are in there, all the horns, the brass. Yeah, huge. Speaking of brass, we were kind of going back and forth on that moment at the front that kind of takes, you get settled in with that beautiful atmospheric texture and you're like, oh, this is lovely. And then out of nowhere, we take your head off with the ba-da-da-da. And I knew we were going to have the metal thing coming up. I knew there was going to be a big band thing, and there are some sounds, a lot of like thunder toms and things that are in these sort of Dancing with the Stars arrangement vernacular that get used as accents and things. So it's like, well, there you go. That's what we need for the accent. So we took brass, all doing that stab, and it's a real sort of discordant like notes that are right next to each other on the piano that you would normally want to play if you wanted to sound pretty, but this is not pretty. So yeah, it's crunchy. I believe there's a synthesizer in there too. Yeah, so you got that kind of grindy, almost dubsteppy vibe. You got our gunshot kind of thunder toms, and then of course the crunch guitar. So in a way, like I'm trying to foreshadow what's about to hit you with the big band, with the metal guitars, with the the big booms, in the kick line and all that stuff. So it's like, yeah, we're kind of beating you over the head, but we're also giving you a taste of things to come. And so that's it, man. I'm really proud of how it came out. It really took a village to get through. I mean, we got choir, we got horns, we got Stefan Macchio, we got District 78, and wow. And to see it all come together, it just, it's incredible. So thanks for watching, and might do a further deep dive on this at some point if folks are interested.